Scott Brayton, ready for his 14th start at Indianapolis.
Pounding down to the yard of bricks. Here he comes, and he's on it.
Come on, Scotty.
Well, he's trying to move around his teammate Ryan Dyke, and he's got a hot one here. 231.893 miles an hour. Scott Brayton, he could do it. He could move to that pole position.
Yeah.
This is good. All right.
What will it be? What will it be? And it's over 231 and a half. And we've got a new pole sitter, Scott Brayton.
That was last weekend here at Indianapolis. Today it's the third day of time trials for the 79th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. We are live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the weather always seems to be somewhat changeable. It has rained during the week, but today it's clear and sunny. The temperature is 77 degrees. That's a little hot, but it's the time of day also at Indianapolis that the weather tends to drop. So we expect to see some qualifications here at Indianapolis within the next couple of hours that we're going to be with you. Right now, though, back in the qualifying line, there are no cars presented. They are practicing out on the racetrack, and we have got a lot of information to get up to speed on from the qualifying earlier today and just generally what's been happening during the last week. So, Derek Daly, what we're talking about is the biggest story is the fact that Penske Racing is still struggling.
And it is the biggest story, and struggle is the only word you could use, because day in, day out, when people like Gary Lyondike and Scott Brayton did lap speeds of 230 miles an hour with ease, Penske's was often 10 miles an hour slower than that. Well, the struggle went on day after day. Then they realized this racing car, the 95, is simply not fast enough around here. So Plan A went into action. They took a 94 car out. It was also slow. Now, some people suggest the 94 car was a bad handling car here last year, but the 1,000 horsepower that Mercedes gave them last year, they don't use that engine this year, but that masked some of the bad handling of last year, and they went on to win the race. Well, Plan B came into action. They went to a 94 Reynard. Roger Penske was very impressed at how many drivers seemed to find speed with ease in the 94 Reynard. So they put 20 men on it for 12 hours a day, 240 man hours, and about $50,000 in cash. Al Jr. did just over 40 laps and said, no, this is not the ticket for speed either. Then they went to Plan C. Plan C is for them to change to Lolas. Now, Emerson Fittipaldi has had some of the Lolas. It's a car from the Ray Hall Hogan stable. Al Unser Jr. got one this morning. And with more on Plan C, let's go down the pit lane to my colleague, Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Derek. We might mention there is no Plan D. Plan D does not exist. Plan C has to work for Penske Racing, and they have been struggling all day behind me. Now, what's happened yesterday, Emerson Fittipaldi, as you said, received a Ray Hall Hogan 95 Lola Mercedes. Now, late in the day, as the shadows began creeping across the racetrack around 5:45 Central Time, Fittipaldi clocked a lap at 227.8, and they were all smiles. Rick Reineman and the rest of the crew saying, okay, we found it. Now, this morning, Fittipaldi came back out, considerably warmer, track temperature probably close to 120 degrees even early in the morning. His best lap at 223.4, and that would not get it done. He ran 22 laps, took the car back to the garage. They have just brought that car back on pit road, and their hopes for Emerson is that late in the day, as the shadows creep across once again, he'll be able to duplicate yesterday's run at over 227 and a half. Now the story for Al Unser Jr. He tried to develop the Penske chassis, the 95 Penske. Did not get a Lola from Ray Hall Hogan until late last night. The car rolled into the Penske garage around 10 o'clock with a new engine in it. He has been struggling. One day of practice is all he's had. The car back on the racetrack here just moments ago, 222.1 miles per hour. As you're watching Al Unser Jr. in a 1995 Lola Mercedes, 221. They have topped the tanks off. They are struggling to get the car up to speed, but they are being very, very cautious. So here's the plan for Penske. Look for Fittipaldi to possibly make a qualifying effort around 5:20 Central Time. With 40 minutes remaining on the track, he will try to duplicate that run of a day ago, 227 and a half. We may not see Al Unser Jr., unless the speeds change drastically in the next hour and a half, make a run today. And unbelievably, the defending champion of the night of the Indianapolis 500, Al Unser Jr., may have to wait until Bubble Day to qualify for the 1995 field. Guys?
Well, we're talking about the different cars that Little Al and Emerson has been in all week, with rain on all day of Wednesday. Here are the different cars that Little Al's been in, starting with the Reynard, then moving back to the Penske, and we'll take a look at Emerson Fittipaldi as well. But I think the key here, Derek, is how complicated this is for the crew.
That's right indeed. Just consider the man-hours that went into building that Reynard. But Al Unser Jr. was part of the decision to stay as long as he did with that 95 Penske, because he believes that would be his choice of car come race day. Of course, he's got to get in the race before he can even consider race day. But of course, today, this morning dawned, and there is no more time to work on that 95 Penske. And this car here, which you'll recognize the color scheme of Raoul Boesel, is Al Unser Jr.'s only option left to get this car fast enough to qualify in the Indy 500. Hard to believe we're actually detailing a story of the past champion, the reigning champion, just trying to qualify for this great race.
While we look at this live shot of Al Unser Jr. trying to find speed here, let's go a little further up pit road to Gary Gerald.
And Paul, it's not just the Penske team that's in a state of some semi-chaos and having to change chassis. You're hearing the engine being fired behind us. The color scheme looks the same for Stefan Johansson. That indeed is Stefan, who is in the cockpit, and the wheel is being snugged down. But the number from 16 is now 61. Look down here at the nose, and the droop wings indicate this is not a 94 Penske chassis that he's been running all month long. This, in fact, is a 94 Reynard. Late yesterday, Stefan and Tony Bettenhausen came up with the Reynard. In less than 30 laps, he had it running at 226 miles per hour, 3 miles per hour faster than he had been in his Penske chassis all month long. So they came out and they hoped to qualify this morning. They had a minor problem. He ran 226, but they had to make a change on the setup. Then the heat began to build. So they've been waiting. They've just rolled the car out. In the last 10 minutes, we're getting cloud cover in and out as the sun plays peekaboo and plays with the track temperatures. They want to get a couple of laps of practice. They think that they'll be able to make a qualifying run and get in the select field of 33 between the 5 and 6 o'clock hour. Now, we mentioned that track conditions are changing. Let's get more on that whole scenario as we go further up pit road to our colleague Jan Beekes.
Well, Gary, there are two aspects of those track conditions that the teams are paying very careful attention to, and that's the air temperature as well as the track temperature. So it's worth reviewing, why does that kill the speed here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? First of all, the air temperature. As the air temperature comes up, it becomes less dense. When you have less dense air coming across these wings here, it's not as produce as much downforce as it would do before. So therefore, you have to put a little more wing into the car when the air is less dense. Also remember that when the air is less dense, that there's less horsepower for the engine. So the two of those together mean slower straightaway speeds. But the big culprit really comes down to track temperature. When you look at this track temperature here at the moment, because of the cloud cover, it turns out that it's come down now to 121 degrees. It was at a high just a few minutes ago of 129 degrees. Just one cloud can make that much difference. Well, why does it make a difference? It's because here in the asphalt, one of the components is oil. So as the track gets hotter, oil actually comes up out of the surface and makes it slippery in the turns. So these clouds behind us today can make the difference between people making this show and not.
And here at our position, right at the start-finish line, it has noticeably cooled with air temperature as well. Let's take a look now at the starting grid based on last weekend's completion of runs, with Scott Brayton on the pole, his teammate Arie Luyendyk, both Menards, sitting 1 and 2, and Scott Goodyear with a Honda Power on the outside of the front row, all three part-time drivers.
Row 2 has Michael Andretti, who was on that front row until Scott Goodyear knocked him off. Jacques Villeneuve, remember, he was spectacular, finished second last year. And Big Mo from Brazil, Maurizio Gugelmin.
Then the third row, Robbie Gordon, Scott Pruitt, Firestone Tires, and Jimmy Vasser.
Row 4, spectacular effort from Matt Schuster. Stan Fox is in the middle, and Andre Ribeiro in the second of the Hondas.
In row number 5, Roberto Guerrero, who still holds the track record at better than 232 miles an hour. Eddie Cheever driving for A.J. Foyt, and Teo Fabi, who in 1983 was the rookie pole sitter here.
Row 6 sees a disappointed Paul Tracy, but he was much faster this morning in practice. Zampedri, also on Firestone tires, exceptional for him. And Brian Herta, who's still recovering from a big crash a few days ago.
And then at the end of last week, it was Danny Sullivan in row 7 on the inside, Jill DeFerrin to the center of the row, and Hideshi Matsuda, a sophomore driver here at the Speedway, on the outside.
Row 8 has more second-day qualifiers. Bobby Rahal just happy to be in this field solidly. Teammate beside him, Raul Boesel, and Buddy Lazier, who got a golden opportunity to qualify a third John Menard car.
And that left just one qualifier in the 9th row, Eliseo Salazar, 225.0. That's the slowest speed in the field right now, and will very definitely be a number to watch. Now, let's get you up to speed on what's happened here today, starting with Christian Fittipaldi driving for Derek Walker. Let's take a look at the last 2 laps of his qualifying run.
Christian Fittipaldi, of course, comes here with nothing but a road racing background, so these type of speeds between the concrete walls are very new to him. Now watch the lap speeds as they change to yellow. That's the current lap. White is the last lap he did. Turn 2. You can see the speed increases here. Derek Walker at this stage was looking for consistency. This was not the first attempt by this car. This was the second attempt made with this car. Through turns 3. Short chute, same speed. Watch the speed off turn 4. Same speed. So now we see it's an average lap, but is it fast enough?
Well, it's certainly the kind of consistency they were looking for. The third lap at 225.4 brought the overall average to 225.176 with one more lap to run.
And now the gamble begins to unfold. Will this be fast enough to keep Christian Fittipaldi in the field? Derek Walker, who would monitor his speed coming off turn 4 before he ever takes the checkered flag, is the final man who has the decision. Christian just does the best he can. And as he comes off turn 4, Derek Walker realizes he likes it and he accepts it.
So his 4-lap average was good enough to set him on the field. Afterwards, we talked with Christian.
Christian, how much of a sense of relief is there now to be qualified for your first Indy 500?
Well, it's not really a relief because you still have a lot of cars to go out there. And I ran flat out 4 laps. The car was way too draggy. There wasn't one tiny lift during the 4 laps, so I reckon we lost a little bit of miles there, like at least 1 to 2 miles. And I really have to watch out because I don't think that my average speed was that good. So maybe we go for a second attempt this afternoon when it's really, really cool.
Thank you.
So Christian Fittipaldi qualifying at 225.246 miles an hour. Now there were 2 other qualification runs during the early morning hours, and they were fairly spectacular. When we come back, we'll take a look at them. ESPN's coverage of the third day of time trials for the Indy 500 is brought to you by Firestone Retailers. Come in now for the Indy race sale. And here in Indianapolis, as we continue to give you live coverage of what is still a practice, it gives us a chance to go back and show you the other 2 qualification runs of the day. The real surprise, I think, was Lynn St. James, who came here with no opportunity at all, and then on Thursday finally announced that she had enough backing for this car, and today in that car went out and started a qualification run.
This was quite a remarkable run because in very few laps, Lynn St. James had this car initially above 226 miles an hour, and she shocked everybody early this morning by posting lap speeds above 228 miles an hour. Now, what makes this more remarkable is a newspaper story appeared in the Chicago Tribune detailing Lynn St. James's problems, that she had no financial backing to race at the Indy 500. Well, David Carmel, who owns the Whitlock Corporation, they have some 81 stores around the Midwest, decided, I will go and back Lynn St. James, I'll take a big gamble and we'll see what happens. Well, what a gamble and what a repay it was from Lynn St. James. Remarkable speed and consistency from somebody who has had hardly any practice in this car.
Very few laps on the car. The first lap in at 2:25.299. At that time, about everybody, and this is about 11:12 this morning, everybody felt that 2:25 flat was certainly a cutoff, and 2:25.2 was pretty close as well.
I happened to stand beside Lynn St. James when Dick Simon came over and said, "Lynn, what do you want to do? You make the decision." In my opinion, it's got a little bit too hot. This was about an hour after she posted 2:28 this morning. She looked around, saw some cloud cover, and she said, "You know, we have 3 opportunities. Let's give it a go."
Second lap came through at 2:25.722, but you saw she was really wide there. In fact, one of a couple of different times when she got right up to the wall.
Lynn St. James seemed to easily get a confidence in this car that allowed her to run on the ragged edge all the way to the wall, and too close to the wall for comfort, certainly for car owner Dick Simon at one stage.
So Lynn St. James now upping the average at 2:25.5. Dick Simon, as he walked down the line here just in front of our commentary position, said that he was really hoping for a 2:25.6 or he might wave it off. So at this point in the run, he was seriously thinking about that possibility.
And also remember, at this stage, he knew that Eliseo Salazar, the only driver he had in the race at this particular time, actually had a slower speed than Lynn St. James's average. So she was not going to be the slowest car in the field, so that gave him a little bit of a comfort level.
So working the fourth and final lap on a car that they were very comfortable with throughout the week for its consistency, and obviously was well set up for Lynn St. James. She was able to qualify with a 4-lap average at 225.346 miles an hour.
Lynn, the feeling now, doing this job on such short notice and all of the turmoil of trying to get a car available, then putting it in the show, you must have a great feeling of satisfaction right now.
I do. I have to admit, though, there's a little disappointment because we turned 2:28 this morning and we only got a 2:25 average. That I know the crew and everybody felt, the pride we would have had with the number. But there is a relief. We're in the show. I hope it holds. It should. There's a lot of, I still think, a few slower than I am, and so I don't know. It is a sense of pride.
Now tell me about those 2 right Goodyears that kind of got white-walled there. How close a call was that for you?
Well, obviously we touched the wall, but you want to free the car up as much as you can, and particularly when it gets hot, you really want to be able to use all the track and really free the car up. And I was trying to squeeze as much as I could. It was between 1 and 2, so the car was going straight, and I just kissed it, but I knew it didn't upset anything, and I kept my foot in it and kept it going around. So sorry, Leo, that I took the yellow Goodyear off the side, but I'm trying to use all that racetrack.
Any apprehensions at all because you'd had so little time to get the car ready?
No, when the car's right, and I do a lot of mental laps around this place, and fortunately, if this had been 2 years ago, my second year here, or obviously my rookie year, I think it's an impossibility really to have probably dealt with it. But that experience has really paid off, and I've dedicated myself to not forgetting what I've learned, and make sure it's retained and recall it as much as I can. So, to be honest with you, other than being grooved, the flow and the comfort and the rhythm that I would get from turning more miles, we probably wouldn't have been able to accomplish a whole heck of a lot more and just put more miles on the thing.
Welcome back to the Indy 500.
Thanks. It's great to be back.
So that was Lynn St. James just after 11 o'clock this morning. Now, Derek, let's take a look at that again, because you've driven here thousands of laps, and that's not an easy task.
Remember, this is above 225 miles an hour. Watch this. Bangs the 2 outside wheels off the wall. And consider this. Our interview took place only minutes after she banged the wall here, and she is remarkably at ease with what she did, as if it really didn't mean anything. Maybe that's the type of mental attitude you need to go fast here.
So here at Indianapolis, the crowd waits for the possibility of a qualification run. Tony Bettenhausen looks on at his driver, Stefan Johansson, and we'll be back. Well, let's take a look at the grid, the way it is set now at the back of the field after those runs this morning. With the 9th row, Eliseo Salazar, who was already there, then Eric Bachelard, then Lynn St. James, and of course, now in the 10th row, Christian Fittipaldi in that final position. Here at Indianapolis, we're again live, and they have just turned the green light on for qualifying. Now, if you look behind me, Well, there's Emerson Fittipaldi coming out, but here also is the tech area. That's where the cars are presented when they're ready to make a qualification run. Once a time a car appears there, it's about a 10-minute run down this chute, and then it's out to qualification. So when we come back to Indianapolis, we'll keep an eye on the practice. We'll talk with some more of the principals, and hopefully we'll see some qualifying runs before the day is over. I think that's an absolute certainty. A.J. Foyt, as he talks with his drivers up on the pit road. The yellow just winked on a moment ago, and steward of the meet, Keith Ward, had to go out and pick up a dead bird from the middle of the straightaway that got creamed by one of the cars. Let's take a look at the way they line up with those yet to qualify. And Derek, there are some fairly significant names in here, starting with the first two in the order, Little Al and Emerson Fittipaldi, but there's still some other pretty big guys down there.
Some of the greatest drivers in the world today are not in this race. Stefan Johansson's surprised that he has had such a struggle here. Jeff Ward, who has only done 15 racing car races in his whole life. Remember, the motocross world is no experience to bring here. He's struggling for speed at the moment. And look at Jim Crawford at the bottom of the list here. He is struggling mightily. He has a 92 Buick engined Lola here and has never been over 223 miles an hour. Johnny Parsons crashed this morning. They're rebuilding the car. They'll have it out tomorrow. Greenfield crashed, and Davey Hamilton has another car. He suffered a terrific crash when a wheel broke here last week. He has a broken right ankle. However, the ankle doesn't cause him trouble, but he's severely bruised both knees. That is causing his discomfort.
So the green light has come back on here at Indianapolis, and already they are heading back out to practice. When we come back, we'll take a look at a little more from time trials. You saw the track temperature has dropped substantially. That, of course, is measured, though, over here on the front straightaway where it's in shadow. He's now on the back straightaway on his warm-up, and that's very definitely in sunlight.
And look at those strong shadows being left by that car. The sun has come out again, and it does make a difference. It could be an enemy of Al Unser Jr. Al Sr. is right in front of us here. He's laughing, but that looks like a nervous laugh to me because he's been through this before. He's standing with Paul Newman. They're trying to make conversation, but they are both very nervous.
They look up the straightaway now to watch for the passage of Al Unser Jr. as he flashes past down into the south end already. The second of two warm-up laps. Dwayne Sweeney is the starter here. He has the green flag in his hand, ready to give it to Al Unser Jr. Just a few feet away, Rick Mears jogging down the pits back toward the other car. They'll keep in contact with this car and try and find out what little information they will be able to from Al before the next run comes out with Fittipaldi, and they have an opportunity to make some changes. He now starts his 4-lap, 10-mile qualification run. We'll track the speeds through the traps for you into turn 1 at 2:30.
The key is to maintain that speed. Drops down to 223. What's it like coming off turn 2, 221? That is not a spectacular lap at the moment. Remember, this is the first of 3 attempts he has allowed. When the front row of the grid is already gone, the prestige of being there doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really matter where you start on the grid here for 500 miles. Scott Goodyear would tell you that after he almost won the race in '92. 218 off turn 4 is not quick enough.
Al Unser Jr., the first lap at 224.115. That's a disappointment.
Oh, that is a disappointment. Now watch as the speeds go up. No, they don't look that much better. 2 miles an hour quicker across the short chute. Watch turn 3. Watch the 229. Oh, it's slower. This doesn't look good. Watch the 220. It's the same, which means he'll hardly accelerate and pick up much coming off for the same. So this lap may be a tick quicker because of the short chute time at 225 across 1 and 2.
224.020, not as quick. He's averaging 224.067. And for a car that they said they would not wave off, Dwayne Sweeney has the yellow flag in his hand. and they are, in fact, waving the run off. So Al Unser Jr.'s first attempt in this car is waved off. That leaves him 2 more attempts in this car.
And the struggle continues. Chuck Sprague gets on the back of the USAC golf cart to come back. The yellow flag is waved. Believe it or not, the sun came out. Did that affect his run? And believe it or not, in Penske tradition of this month, the sun has just gone behind the clouds.
So now Al Unser Jr. will roll into the pits, and at the head of the qualifying line now is Scott Sharp driving for A.J. Foyt. We'll keep an eye on Little Al as he rolls to a stop, and of course when we come back, we'll have the qualification run of Scott Sharp, who moved into an A.J. Foyt car at the last minute and is ready to go. Back here right at the starting position is Emerson Fittipaldi. This is Keith Ward, who will take over as chief steward next year, getting a little training in advance, giving the final instructions to Fittipaldi. Let's listen in for a moment.
If you don't throw any flag, then the run's off, okay? Complete your run and come in on the warm-up pack. Okay, any questions?
So Emerson Fittipaldi is ready to climb in the car as Adrian Fernandez is already on his run, Derek.
And Adrian this morning did a 227.8 miles an hour, was very confident that if it cools down, he can match that speed. That's a good first turn speed of 233. And look at the 227 and 225 coming off turn 2. This is a good lap. Carries the same 233 miles an hour into turn 3. 223. That's almost 5 miles an hour quicker off turn 4 than we saw Al Jr. do earlier. This is a good lap. Oh, yes, indeed.
Oh, great lap. 228.653 miles an hour. Lap number 1 for Adrian Fernandez.
Whoa, that has brought the crowd to its feet here, because Fernandez just went quicker than he did this morning in the cool, humid temperatures. And believe it or not, you don't see much shadow from that car. The sun has gone behind the clouds.
And it's working for Fernandez as he comes into the North Chute. And we look for him to flash down the straightaway and pick up the time and speed at the conclusion of lap number 2. We'll watch for the speed to come up.
It still looks good.
228.339. He's still averaging over 228. This is solid.
Oh, this could bring him the $25,000. There's Rick Allis. He looks on. He's a nervous man now, too. This is the last attempt for this car. Adrian Fernandez could win $25,000 as a bonus just for posting the fastest qualifying lap of today. Look at that straight line speed. That's good.
Fernandez still with a very solid run. Normally, the tradition here is not to have a green car and not to be interviewed by an announcer just before you go out. I think we've just wiped out both of those because he talked to you before he went out, and the car is predominantly green on the top.
Oh, still a great lap. Still almost 228, 27.894. He's got the consistency. All he needs is a reliability. Remember, he knows the lap speed he's doing. He has a digital readout on his dashboard. So Adrian Fernandez looks to be home and dry if he just gets through these last 2 corners.
Still the toughest run in racing, the 4 laps at Indianapolis. Through the 3rd turn, heading across the North Short Chute. Turning through turn 4 and heading down the main straightaway. The checkered flag will wait for him. There it is. The 3rd attempt on this car now complete. And we look for the final speed at 226. It fell off 226.341, but still he averaged at 227.803 miles an hour, Jan Bikas.
Well, Rick Allis, you're smiling, you're cheering. That was your last attempt. Where did that speed come from?
Well, we've had it the whole week, and he's just a great driver. We're real proud of him.
Congratulations.
So, thanks, we're happy.
Thanks, we're happy, but I can't stay and talk to you. I want to get back and give my man a clap on the back. That's Rick's wife, Tina, gets a hug from everybody. That's the Mercedes-Benz engineer. Great run by Adrian Fernandez, and everybody in Mexico can rejoice. Great speed.
And what makes it so exciting here is that right now, Emerson Fittipaldi is firing the engine. Here's the way the rows are right now. Salazar, Fernandez, Bachelor make up the 9th row. The 10th row is now made up of Lynn St. James and Christian Fittipaldi, and some decisions being made on Christian. Derek?
Because something unusual, Christian Fittipaldi has just been strapped into another of Derek Walker's cars. Derek, the car safely in the field with Christian. Why is he going to go again?
Well, is it safely in the field, Derek? That's the question. There's a lot of good cars there, can certainly do some bumping. So we want to make sure we're in, and this is the car we really wanted to run this morning but couldn't. We had a little electrical problem with it. Now it's running, it's okay. We think we can do a better time, so better do it now than wait and then find out we maybe get bumped tomorrow or something like that.
Derek, isn't it a risk to take out a car that you have in the field rather than wait for somebody to bump you out of the race?
It is a big risk, but it's a calculated risk. Christian feels very confident with the car. We know it can go quicker than what we've done. And we have Robbie's backup car still in line, which is a quicker car again.
So a calculated risk, an insurance policy with Robbie Gordon's car. And with 20 minutes to go, the sun has gone behind the clouds. Maybe a good decision.
And Marco Greco on the course now, completing his first lap. But at 217 miles an hour, surely they'll wave this off quickly so other qualifiers will be given the opportunity to go. And the next in line is Stefan Johansson. So 217, not nearly quick enough, and he's already backed out of it.
And there must be something serious wrong with the handling of that car, because that's also one of Rick Gallis's cars. You can be sure that they sapped off some of the information that Adrian Fernandez had, and he's already had this car above 226 miles an hour. So something serious wrong with Marco Greco.
So the wave off comes from Rick Gallis, and Stefan Johansson is next out. Christian Fittipaldi starts his 4-lap, 10-mile qualification run. Some pretty impressive speeds down in the first turn. 2:23 was his first lap. Yeah, I thought so. I've not seen an actual speed. This is his first lap here.
That was, in fact, a warm-up speed that we just flashed you there. He will pick it up now. Oh, he better be happy that was only a warm-up speed, because they just took a huge gamble. The car that was already qualified, remember, you can take the car out, but if you have any problem, misfire, or anything during the 4 laps, you may never get into the race. Now he's going to post an official qualifying speed.
Oh, it's good. 2:26.523 for Christian Fittipaldi on lap 1.
So Derek Walker's gamble is beginning to pay off so far. Much, much faster now. There's the straight line speeds that you need. 233 and a 232 apex speed at turn 1, and only down to 225. This is a good lap again for Christian Fittipaldi.
Now his previous 4-lap qualification average was at 225.246 miles an hour. So if he maintains this average, he's substantially up that, and this was a gamble worth the wait. Looking for lap 2 now. At 226.792, he's picking the speed up.
Oh, it gets even better, but he's only halfway. He has to do 2 more laps. He's not that quick off turn 4. See that 221 off turn 4? He lost a mile an hour off turn 2. Maybe Christian is also picking up some of that dreaded push syndrome. You turn the steering wheel, the car does not want to go where you point it. When it begins to scrub or push, you head for the concrete wall unless you back out of the power. Oh, he's losing time here. The speed looks like it's beginning to drop down. What's the lap?
Christian Fittipaldi completes lap number 3 at 2:26.6, so it only drops off just a tick. It is the second quickest lap of the run, and he's averaging 2:26.655.
Oh, he's safe. All he needs is reliability now. Consistency. Don't try and yank the car down to the apex. Free it up as much as you can. Let it run off up to the wall here, all the way. Power back on. 220 exit speed. Is it in the 219s? Oh, it is. Drop down another tad, but it's quick enough. It's still above 226, I believe.
And they accept the run. The last lap at 225.541 miles an hour. So the gamble has paid off for Christian Fittipaldi, out and then immediately right back into the field. Let's go up the pitch to Jan.
Well, Derek, congratulations. That was a big gamble, but boy, it paid off.
Well, yeah, it was a bit of a gamble, but Christian was very confident and the guys had worked real hard and we really thought we could pull it off, so we gambled.
You take a day off tomorrow now?
Yeah, all day. I'm going to watch the rest of the qualifying.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So Derek Walker gets to celebrate as Al Unser Jr. makes it attempt number 2. Paul?
Right here, right at the box, just before you move into qualifying position, where Mike Groff is taking off right now. Here is Al Unser Jr. Roger Penske stands just across the way as he pulls on the gloves, pulls on the helmet, and is ready for a qualification attempt here. Now, once again, the car is the 11T car. That is the car that Raul Boesel had originally scheduled as a backup car. It is a car that has been out once and has waved off, and so this will be the second attempt against this car. And we'd love to try and find out exactly what changes might have been made, but very wisely, most of the crew decided to stay over on the other side of the car where you can't actually get to him. Richard Buck, the chief mechanic, straps little Al in and gives him a final word of encouragement. Perhaps Jan Beekes can tell us what changes have been made.
Paul, we had a chance to ask Chuck Sprague right after Al Unser Jr. came in, and he said it was overall grip that they lost. They did pick up a little push, but they thought they could cure it by going out on sticker tires. So that's the biggest change we'll see for Al Unser Jr., and I bet there'll be a little wing tweaking as well.
Very definitely sticker tires as it left here. And Jerry Breon, one of the crew members, said, and the plot thickens.
What a powerhouse Richard Buck and Al Unser Jr. were together last year, but now all eyes are focused on Mike Groff. Boy, he was thrown in at the deep end. Didn't sit in this car till this morning, was asked to bring it up to speed very quickly. Mike was here last November testing with the Honda-powered Reynard. Ran very, very well, so he hasn't been out of an Indy car very long. But it is a tall order to ask a driver to step in and go these phenomenal speeds in just one short day, and then go to the most power, pressure-packed situation in sports, qualify for the Indy 500. Let's watch Mike Groff.
Blaine Sweeney gives the green flag to Mike Groff. 4 laps ahead. 4 laps that Emerson Fittipaldi said he loathes, he absolutely hates, because they must be so very precise. You're getting a good indication of that as we watch these trap speeds come up. And by the way, these are not radar speeds. These are the passage of the car and its transponder over antennas embedded in the racetrack that give us these intervals.
230 miles an hour, apex speed at turn 1. That's good. He needs to carry a bit more into turn 3. It's down to 229. Exit speed is 218. Oh, that does not look like a great lap. But remember, it's only his first one. Maybe he can pick it all up.
Lap 1 at 224.3, a mile an hour below the cut.
We heard Mike say he did a 225 earlier when it was considerably warmer. Oh, look at the drop off in speed at 227 apex speed. This is not a good one for Groff.
Mike Groff, the car belongs to Chip Ganassi. Last minute replacement in this car. Remember, Brian Herta would be the team car here, as well as Jimmy Vasser, and Herta's car still overseas being repaired.
This is a yellow flag run. They can't take this, surely. Much slower.
They let it go on for one more lap, nevertheless. Averaging 223.3, still a full mile an hour below the cut. And Chip Ganassi puts out the yellow flag as Morris Nunn watches on. And they pull Mike Groff off of his qualification attempt here at Indianapolis. So 29 positions are filled on this, the third day of qualifying. Still some time to go, about 15 minutes of qualifying scheduled here at Indianapolis as the engine sounds in Al Unser Jr.'s car. And there you see him, Little Al. Unfamiliar colors. It is the Lola. It is the backup car to Raul Boesel, but look at the track temperature. Will it help?
Oh, it will help. Look at those stickers. He has gone onto brand new tires, Paul, as you said earlier. Jan had mentioned that they lacked overall grip. Well, overall grip can be enhanced by running brand new tires, as long as the consistency of the stagger remains the same because it affects the handling of these cars so much. Jerry Punch?
And Al Unser Jr. and Emerson Fittipaldi would not be qualifying today or have even a shot at qualifying if it weren't for Bobby Rahal and the man I'm standing behind right now, Carl Hogan. And Carl, what a tremendous gesture for you and Bobby to be able to loan a couple of cars. The only 2 cars you had here at the racetrack, the Penske Racing.
Yeah, it's a risk, but I think that they deserve it, and certainly the 2 drivers deserve to be in this race. And Roger helped us last year, so I think it's only fair that we help him, and I think that's the way this sport is, and I think that's what's important in the sport, that we help each other.
Emerson said earlier you even had the setup on it that Bobby had tried to tweak over 224, and that helped them get up to speed even quicker. But it's got to be tough for little Al with one day to try to get this car up over 225.
Yeah, Al's had a little bit harder time to get it up to speed, actually. But he's been doing it gradually. He's built some confidence in the car. And we've had our chief engineer working with him and all our people working with him, and we really want him to make it.
So possibly you could have all 4 cars in the field for Rahal Hogan as the green flag waves for Al Jr. The temperature is the big key, and it has gotten cooler here in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think you can find it much better than this. There's not any really strong breeze or anything. The track's under shade, and the temperatures come down, so I think it's about as good as you're going to get.
That's Carl Hogan. The temperatures have cooled, the tires have been changed, and guys, he's hunting for that 227 he had earlier in the day in the final practice run.
So the second attempt for this car with Al Unser Jr. at the wheel is underway. There are 3 opportunities to qualify at Indianapolis. This is the second one charged against him. We watch for the first lap because that'll be the tail.
Doesn't look great.
2:23.959, not nearly good enough.
Oh, Al Jr., hold your breath. You may have to dig deep into the bravery bag here because you may have to grab this thing by the scruff of the neck and try and wring some speed out of it. Now look at the second lap. The straight line speed is picked up and the apex speed at turn 1 has picked up. So this is much, much faster.
Well, Al Unser Jr. has a reputation for being able to carry a race car. That is, make up for any deficiencies the car may have. Let's see if we're going to see one of those runs now.
No, it's faster. It's not spectacular, but it is faster.
And lap number 2 complete for Al Unser Jr. at 2:25.434. He picked it up substantially, mile an hour and a half.
Yeah, but the average is not good enough yet. The average is still only 2:24.6. So Al Jr. has to dig much, much deeper here if he's going to make this race. At the moment, this run is not fast enough. Look at the drop-off in speed at turn 2 also. This is not fast enough. No. Look at the turn 3 speed, Paul. No good.
Bit of a pickup of wind. The windsock both on the pylon here on the main straight and over in turn 4, standing straight out now. So he's no doubt getting some gusting down the backstretch.
This is no good. I can tell you now, the yellow. There it is.
Roger Penske with Chuck Sprague as team manager alongside calls off the second run on this car for Al Unser Jr. and the pressure intensifies on Penske Racing.
And this is plan C that's beginning to go awry here because out of 3 attempts they've already used 2. USAC will give him 1 more attempt on that car to get into this race. Jan?
Well, Roger Penske is talking to him at the moment. He's talking to Al in the car. As soon as he finishes, we'll try and get a comment from him. Obviously, he's debriefing right now so they can possibly find out what's wrong and get a handle on tomorrow. Chuck Sprague, can you tell us, do you have any idea what may have happened there with Al?
I'm sorry, I'm listening to Al at the moment. Let me just get his debrief here.
Getting a full debrief while they're making the run out there. That's amazing. Little Al rolls to a stop up at the north end. Now, Al Unser Jr. is still going to debrief. Frank Freon is the next driver to head out, and then Scott Sharp will roll into line. ESPN's coverage of the third day of time trials live from Indianapolis is brought to you by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life. And back here live in Indianapolis, the sun shining on the backstretch. The main stretch is covered with shadow from the giant grandstand complex, and Scott Sharp is out for the second time today, ready to start a qualification attempt.
And the master's words before he went out, just stay cool. Stay cool and see can the car give you the speed. Scott Sharp successfully qualified here last year for Pac West and has been unemployed this season, except for some testing duties for Roger Penske before he got the call. And he carries that 230 mile an hour into the apex of turn 1, and that's the type of numbers he needs. 221 is a big drop off in the short chute, and 228 may not get the job done into turn 3. What's his turn 4 exit speed? 219.
This should be the final run of the day. Already the score with the gun in hand to indicate the 6 o'clock local time end of the day. Scott Sharp's lap at 224.120. I wouldn't do it.
No, but look at this second lap, 233 entry speed. Our approach speed, 231 at the apex. This lap is quicker so far. The gun goes off. Nobody else will get a chance here. So Emerson Fittipaldi, who is right in front of us, makes a beeline for the motorhome. And Scott Sharp continues his opportunity. Picks it up into turn 3. Faster across the short chute. Same speed off turn 4. It's a bit faster, but I don't think it's comfort speed.
Interesting, though, with the possibility of rain in the forecast, AJ is a master. He brought it up to 225.163 miles an hour, averaging 224.641. Maybe AJ is going to run a gamble with this car.
Oh, he might, and his driver, Scott Sharp, is getting faster. Look at those entry speeds. The exit into turn 3 is quicker. The entry speed, our exit speed off turn 2 is faster. What about turn? Oh, it's faster across the short chute. Look at turn 4, 219.
Stays the
Still
same.
219, but this is a faster lap. It is a faster lap, but the average won't be fast enough.
Keeping an eye on AJ Foyt down at the end. See whether or not he'll accept it. Third lap at 225.785, averaging 225.012. Will AJ take the gamble?
Look at the exits. Oh, exit speed drops way off turn 2. Way off. That means he will not have a head of steam into turn 3. What's that 230 number? Oh, way 227. Off. No, that's the gamble. It's over.
So AJ will click the watch as he comes off the corner. Best guess is he would say, nope, this one isn't quick enough. Dwayne Sweeney looking down the straightaway. They're watching with binoculars for... No. There's the wave off. Dwayne Sweeney had the checkered in his hand, and then AJ pulled the yellow, and Sweeney had to lean out with the yellow just as the car passed underneath him. So we now have 10 rows complete in the Indy 500. Here's the first row. Brayton, Lyondike, and Goodyear in row number 2.
Andretti, Jacques Villeneuve, and Gugelmin.
The third row now is set with Robbie Gordon, Scott Pruitt, and Jimmy Vasser.
Row 4 has Matt Schuster, Stan Fox, and Andre Ribeiro.
In the fifth row, Roberto Guerrero, Eddie Cheever, and Teo Fabi.
Row 6, Paul Tracy, Zampedri, and Brian Herta.
The seventh row, Danny Sullivan, Jill DeFerrin, and Hidesi Matsuda.
Row 8, Bobby Rahal, Bozell, his teammate, and Buddy Lazier.
The ninth row, Salazar, Fernandez, and Bachelard. At the 10th row, Fittipaldi, St. James, and Freon, and one more day to go. We'll see you tomorrow.